What's up, guys? Welcome to A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. Today we are going to do something that I want to do with everyone in the Facebook group, which is just go over our goals. And this is important because there's a lot of things that go into reselling. So we need to really hunker down and figure out the structure. So we have Josh Suburban Beard on the call. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us where you live, where you're from, and tell us about your YouTube channel.
I live in Cleveland, Ohio, or west side of Cleveland, if you will, and do reselling in YouTube. And with YouTube, it is a fun and uplifting time of finding deals, sourcing for items, and I always like to go over, of course, what they actually sold for and see if I win or lose on them.
So this is a cool conversation, guys, because Josh ideally would like to earn a full-time income on YouTube, but currently is building that up. He just started his channel recently, just got monetized. Congratulations. So I don't recommend you do YouTube for a living. I recommend it's your side income at first until obviously it's big enough, but relying on YouTube income is a little scary. I would much rather you do something that's more stable. So you had mentioned there is some part-time work that you can do, and I'm going to estimate that at 20 hours a week.
Yep.
That's going to produce basically enough income to pay the bills, etc. Then you're going to do reselling, which is I'm going to factor in about 10 hours. This is going to include shipping, all that good stuff. You're a very fast lister.
Yes.
And I want to talk about this specifically. So you had mentioned that you wanted to list 100 items a week, but you weren't keeping track of the profit necessarily.
Correct.
Are you now thinking there's a minimum, like you're going to list anything and everything, or do you have some rules?
So the new rules, like I want to stick with at least a $10 net, but the other side of that is it was what I was getting into. So if I had a pocket protector, right, like a little piece of plastic, I'd list that as an item. Where what I have switched to in the last month is if I have a pocket protector, either hang on to it, toss it, or if I have 10 of them, then sell it together. Even with, the recent pallet purchase I had, I have every single dongle you can think of that plugs into an iPhone, and I could sell them all individually, and I'd probably sell a few a day at a super cheap price. But if I sell 100 at a time for $50, it's a lot easier, a lot less work, and less time consuming.
Okay, great. So I like this because you're learning to sell similar items, no clothing, because clothing is very time intensive, also requires measurements. So if you're selling all hard goods, the 100 items a week is fantastic, and 10 hours totally doable. That's a roughly 5 minutes of listing.
Yep.
So one thing though, I know for sure is holding you back is a dedicated working space.
Yeah.
So maybe you can show people your situation right now. I just created, it's pretty crazy.
Don't cry. Or scream.
I know, right? I know, there's so much stuff in there.
It's
but no, but that's okay. So as an example, in the group, I just put up, I want everyone to take photographs of their listing space and their photo space, and so that you can set it up and it's always the same. That's going to speed up the process big time, because having a dedicated space makes it a lot easier. Also, it's hard for someone to work with you in that space.
Absolutely.
And if somebody's working with you, big difference.
And that's the other point. So like my wife does full-time reselling. She has Etsy, is what her main platform is with her stuff. And, her heat press gets covered with my stuff. The hat heat press gets covered. The shipping scale, she's stepping over stuff to get to the back corner. And so it's even frustrating for her sometimes being like, I just need to weigh this 1 3-ounce item. So yeah, that's my next goal through this week. It has to be done. So.
Okay, so number one challenge for you, definitely create dedicated working spaces. Number two, you've got a lot going on. If you want to try to do the part-time job, the listing goal, and then also you want to do YouTube, you need to figure out how long YouTube takes. So as an example, right now, I'm really focused on producing a really high quality 10-minute video, and I'm giving myself 2 hours only to do it. So I'm going to make the best video I can that's 10 minutes long in 2 hours. Then I have to go back to reselling. So for you, if you're going to try to do the daily upload thing, I recommend definitely try to learn to do your videos in an hour or two, all in, and have it be similar content. I earn a full-time living on reselling and on YouTube. So like, but my day has a very strict schedule. And so that number two, I want you to tighten up. You have, like you had mentioned, you do some lives, which helps. And there's a lot of people listening right now who probably want to do this too. And I think that anyone can,
Right.
but you have to be really disciplined, or it's like, because then you have to post consistently for a while to get that traction.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because it's, I think when I first connected with the Discord group that you had, I think I had 151 subs, and then through meeting other people and other YouTubers and stuff like that, it's grown, and I'm at, excitingly enough, almost 2,900 subs right now. So, it's exciting as it grows. And then the hardest part for me with the excitement of it is like, I almost like in my head, right? I'm like, oh, I can drop everything and just go full-time YouTube. And it's like, I just officially was monetized last night at like 7:00. So it still shows $0. Right. So, and, but yeah, my YouTube, because of the different things I do between, whether it's penny shopping, whether it's reselling, or what's sold video or live, like my schedule is going to have to be day to day, how many hours I can dedicate to it and what it comes down to.
So you're going to have to put down what your day looks like. It's going to have to be pretty strict because you also have a family.
Yeah.
So you have, I would say maximum 2 hours a day. I mean, ideally you could make 7 videos in 10 hours.
Right.
Then you're reselling around 10 hours. I really like reselling when it's only 10 or 20 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's still fun, still interesting. But and at 100 listings of hard goods is fantastic. 100 listings of clothing would take longer than 10 hours. I would say it would take 20 hours minimum. So you now have these metrics that you can't drop the ball. So then how you organize this is, I know for sure you cannot do this by yourself.
Right.
You actually need a little bit of help. And I think that the way to do it is you need to have your schedule set up so that your part-time job in temporary time probably is after. I don't think you could do that, then go home and then knock out this creative work.
Right.
Much harder. The work that you had mentioned you were doing is not creative work.
Right. No.
I would do that after if you can.
Makes more sense.
You also have a 2 p.m. deadline to post.
Correct.
And for me, I'm switching to 9 a.m.
Okay.
So, and that's because for me, we spoke about on the weekend, morning videos doing better.
Yep.
So just for my schedule, I'm always going to post in the morning, but just so it's mentally easier. Although I do agree with you, like there's different times that may do better because of competition.
Right.
But I want you to think, I actually want you to think about this one thing, which is really valuable to me. Every YouTube video essentially has a UPC. It's just like a regular item that you list on eBay. You still have to describe it properly, get pictures, just the thumbnail. It has to be something people want inside of it.
Right.
So I'm now looking at that is the same way. When I'm listing items, I'm describing something that someone doesn't know about. And on YouTube, I'm making a video for somebody who doesn't know me.
No, it makes complete sense. Yeah, because it's the same thing. Someone's searching for an item. They don't know you as a Walmart or, from a hole in the wall. So they still want your item. It has to be described, photographed properly. It's the same between the thumbnail, keywords, and the title of your item itself.
Other than schedule and organization, what else do you think would be a challenge for you to get this done? Because this is what you mentioned is a fantastic income if you can pull it off.
So the next part from like my personal side is budgeting properly. Because even though I've been doing this kind of since January, it's, I came from, a 6-figure income where I had a very small salary. And then at the end of the month, I had a large commission check. And it was great. So I could budget for it, time it, and everything else. And the budgeting going from that to reselling, part-time work, things like that, it gets complicated trying to budget. I can't say, okay, I have a $5,000 commission check on the 17th of this month here. I know that's coming. We can budget whatever for savings and this and that. And now it's, I had 0 sales today compared to, yesterday where I had $300, you know what I mean? So it has to, my budgeting has to improve. I've screwed it up. I'll be completely honest about that. And I haven't gotten good at, it's not even the right wording, but anyways, putting it together properly is what needs to happen for me.
This is perfect. So I want you to focus on getting to the point where you sell 100 items a week. Because then, like, you don't have to worry. You have that steady income. That's going to be based on the stuff that you're selling, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 item store. So you need a little bit of a cleaner organization system. And right now in my group, I'm having a couple of data people create a little stronger of a spreadsheet so it's easier. Because 100 items is, ideally, you could just type in item number 1, what is it? How much is it? Item number 2, what is it? How much is it?
Right.
You got 100 times. Then when it sells, what does it sell for? And then mark it off your inventory list.
Right.
So that you know, okay, this is how many items I have left. And that's going to take some time, but I recommend that you spend like at least an hour a week improving that system. And maybe even more time up front, because once that's set up, and you don't have to worry.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Having just a better system with that in itself, knowing this many items, this much net, what else do I need to list to get there? Because I always followed the path when I'm listing of least to greatest, right? So the items that sell, not so much the least, but the least amount of net profit I list first to get them out of the way. And there's been times where I just have so much stuff that I put all the big stuff aside. And then I'm like, wow, it's kind of a struggle these last few days. What's going on? I'm like, oh yeah, the 5 laptops and Laserdisc players I have and stuff like that I haven't even listed. And it's like, and then I'm rushing to get that in. And then sometimes I get to the point where I'm almost taking best offer just to get rid of it, to increase that income that week. And I don't want to be in that position, obviously. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, your average listing week is going to be what your average income is.
Yeah.
So if you get your store large enough, then you don't really have to, you're going to have income no matter what.
Right.
But right now, that consistency is going to take some time to build up. That's why I need you to you need to work this side gig job. That needs to be your rock.
Okay.
If you do like 4 days a week, 5 hours or something, and you can build your life around that.
Right.
It's much easier. Then you definitely cannot do it when you have time or feel like it. That won't work.
Right. No, absolutely. Well, and that's the nice part about the part-time job. It's funny enough, it was a YouTube connection that I got it from, but it's based on whatever hours I can work, they'll have the work for me. And so I can come up with a consistent schedule that I know is safe enough to where, okay, I can do the evenings, this amount of time, and be there then, and, vice versa. And still, like you had mentioned before, doing the creative work first to be there, put the effort into it, and then go and do the other stuff.
That's right. And so this is going to be Okay, so this is awesome, and also a curse that you have to make your own schedule.
Right.
Because like you could just not go. But if it were like you work these hours or you're fired, then you would be like, okay, then just do it.
Right.
Cool. Okay. So that's awesome. So right now we have a lot to do already. Let's talk about, before we end the call, kind of your idea for what your day looks like. So what are your obligations with your family? How do you approach it like a normal day?
So the huge advantage I'll bring up right off the bat is going to be the side of my wife is at home with me. So huge advantage of that. Any of the little stuff, like if there's a sick child, right, or any of that kind of thing, it won't directly impact my day in a sense. Unless there's specific evening school activities, concerts, but that I have a family board for schedules. But my day in that sense, I have a 6:30 a.m. wake up, coffee and go. And then again, mine's a lot of day to day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have an hour live. Saturday evenings, I have an hour live. Everything else is quote unquote open, right? To schedule for the part-time work, to schedule for my listing. And I think like I told you, I list a lot of items within like that 4 hour period. And I think I'm almost better off breaking that up. And I know I can, so if in 4 hour period I can do 100, if I do 50 in 2 hours, that leaves me an extra 2 hours on those days for something else, whether it be YouTube, budgeting, or even the part-time job. So breaking that up into something different that's more manageable.
I think that you have time for everything.
Yeah.
You need to average 10 listings per hour.
Okay.
That's it. That's the number that to have extra time to do things. List 10 items an hour. It's one every 5 minutes. It's not too difficult when it's only hard goods.
Yeah.
So it's basically keep your video production under 2 hours. List 10 per hour. 4 hours or 5 hours. Or actually, I would rather you do 5 hours 4 times a week with that
right
part-time thing than 5 days of 4. So maximum 4 days there. I think that's it. You've got a good gig going. You also have some alternative ways of sourcing.
Yep.
So
between dumpster diving or penny items or
and then you also have some connections with other YouTubers.
Absolutely.
Which helps out. So guys, that's another hack that I'm actually going to end this our conversation on, which is Josh works with another YouTube channel, which I would consider a business relationship.
Yep,
that
absolutely.
YouTube channel is very much a business. If you are talking to different companies, that makes your job way easier because companies have consistent supply. Versus, a guy that's not very reliable, but like a company, they're going to always have stuff for you.
Yeah, so that's the best part of doing that is having stuff to list without having to source it.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we let people know where they can find you, and then let us know what your YouTube channel is about.
So you can find me just about anywhere at Suburban Beard, just like it sounds. And that's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. And it really is, I started as a reselling channel and it's kind of grown from there. I do my What Sold videos. I talk about my failures. I've talked about when I had to reorganize my business from where I had screwed up. I don't like to hide anything. I want you to know what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. On all my videos, I'm always looking for input as well. So if there's something you see I'm doing that you know how to do better, let me know. I always want to do better and improve on myself, and always happy to meet new people and connect. And it's also a lot of fun. I go around, I do everything from penny shopping to listing, sourcing, you name it.
Awesome. Everybody check out Josh's channel, like, comment, and subscribe on his channel as well. And I want to leave you with one final thought, which is I do agree that we all do better when we all do better. So if you just share what you're doing, people will tell you like that does not work, or that's great, or I tried that and it doesn't work. I'm totally cool. It's better. Faking it is slower. If you want to reach your goals faster, just tell people what you're doing, and they will just explain to you how to do it faster. Everyone and everything that you've done, somebody else has already done. My YouTube channel is just a mix of other people's channels. Your channel is a mix of other people's channels. So appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully it was useful. I always recommend that you do more than one stream of income, but one at a time, and always, figure out the exact metrics. So thanks, Josh, for your time.
Thank you.